Welcome, LifeBlood. This is George G, and the time is right. Welcome to today's guest, strong and powerful Brad Williams. Brad, are you ready to do this?
I am ready. Thanks,
Uh,
George, for having me on the show. This is great.
ex- Excited to have you on. Let's go. Brad knew he wanted to start his own business and help people achieve their wellness goals. He got his personal training certification, went on to own and operate 3 physical gym locations in Orange County, California. Post COVID, he started an online training program and started the Over 40 Fitness Hacks podcast. He's working to help the over 40 crowd fight the aging process while not sacrificing their social life. Brad, tell us a little bit about your personal life, some more about your work, and why you do what you do.
Absolutely. So, born and raised here in California, Central California. If anyone knows where Visalia, California is, not many do, but it's a little south of Fresno. But 20 years there, my dad was always a medical doctor. Mom was a nurse. So I always kind of had that fitness, health, wellness background growing up, real into sports. And, made my way down to Long Beach State here in Orange County, California. And just always followed my uncle. He was always an entrepreneur. That kind of business and stuff excited me. So I knew I always wanted to open up something, just didn't know what. And through various jobs after graduating, finally my brother and I decided to got my personal training certification. I was super into fitness. Let's go for it. And 13 years ago, opened up my first gym in Huntington Beach, California. And just through the next 10 years, just a rough ride of entrepreneurship in the brick and mortar game of high expenses and costs of gyms, and got some investors to jump in with me. We got 2 other gyms, and just a roller coaster of doing business here in California. It's pretty rough, but kind of ended up consolidating down to one gym, which I currently still have with some partners, and do personal training. And then COVID happened, and kind of a lot of us personal trainers got pushed more into the online space. We had dabbled into it before, but it's just the whole world, coming to that with social media and everything. It was just so much more scalable than doing the brick and mortar thing. So started that and started a podcast. And my whole 13 years, just kind of the niche I had with private gyms was kind of the older crowd, the 40 to 65. So that's kind of what I was used to. And then lo and behold, 13 years later of personal training, I'm 42 now. And all the times of in my younger 20s and 30s of training my older clients and all the problems they were having, I'm like, come on, you just need to get better on your diet and work a little harder to get that gut off. And then lo and behold, I'm turning 42, and oh my God, they are right. It is so much harder. So I've had injuries. I have, life with a kid and work and family. I'm moving less, and you just got to get smarter. And, that's why I started coming up with all these different fitness hacks of stuff that worked for me that I can share, with the world out there. So that's kind of the last 13 years of my life in a nutshell there, George.
It's so funny. Become a lot more empathetic when we go through an experience ourselves. And
Yeah.
getting a little older, we always had heard, things get harder and it gets harder to lose weight. And it turns out everybody was right, Brad.
Yeah. And, that's just the natural, our bodies are designed that way. As we age, it's going more into our survival, instinct of holding on to fat, because fat is a good source of energy and longer lasting. So, but we have to kind of trick our bodies into saying it's okay. We're doing stuff. We can hold a better diet and keep moving. So help keep off these pounds. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, I mean, it's so much, and I think it can be overwhelming to somebody like me I don't work in fitness. I've always been an athletic person. I want to be healthy. Um, but it is a lot. What should I be eating? What should I not be eating? Should I be keto? Should I be carnivore? Should I be vegan? Should I lift weights? Should I go running? It's just
yep.
it's just a lot.
Yep. And that's kind of the thing I've discovered over, I've trained over 150 clients just over the years. And my whole thing is, there is no one right answer for diets and style of trainings. It's whatever works for that client. And so that's what I've always discovered is, let's see what they're excited about and motivated, and diets, as far as diets, it's whatever makes you feel good. I personally do keto, but other clients, they feel better on Atkins or low carb or, lots of carbs. So I kind of work with that. And then it's just the game of, tracking calories, what their macros are, making sure they get enough protein in. And, we just start building blocks. When I get a new client coming in, everything, someone, comes after the New Year's resolutions, they want to do everything. And that's the worst way to go. No, we're going to just don't even worry about diet. We're just going to worry about building up to 2 to 3 workouts a week, seeing how you feel. Then we'll start tweaking the diet. Then we'll start doing, if you're interested in keto or intermittent fasting is another good one we do. And just seeing what the client vibes with and what works for them. And then, doing that baby step method, just longer lasting, better results.
Is it sort of true or not true at all that anything will work as long as you do?
Yeah. I mean, the name of the game is, just you're burning more calories in a day than you're putting in your mouth. That's what it all comes down to. And then it's just, what type of training exercises work for you and what your goals are. Are you still trying to do sports? Are you, trying to be more balanced? That's a big thing we promote too in our training is balance. A lot of people don't do that. And for the not so much the over 40 crowd, but more of the older over 65 crowd, slips, trips, and falls are just a huge, part of, getting injured and recovery just taking so much longer. So, instilling that while people are younger, balance training just will help you so much more out in your life.
You said let's figure out what's going to work for you, because me doing CrossFit 5 days a week may not work at all, or it might work perfectly, right? It's got to fit into my life.
Yeah. And most importantly, do you enjoy it? Are you staying injury free? You're doing it safely. If you're doing all that stuff, then yeah, you keep doing it. It's great. My only thing is, worrying about overtraining yourself. If you're not giving yourself enough recovery, that's a huge thing. So I kind of focus more on really pushing like mind body connection while you're doing your workouts and focusing on quality. So really feeling every muscle working while you're doing like a squatted press or overhead squat, some of the things they do in CrossFit, and just being very mindful of injuries, making sure you're engaging your core instead of just trying to pump out reps. Another thing that we promote a lot is time under tension. So doing like a more focused squat of taking 5 to 10 seconds to, squat down and 5 to 10 seconds coming up. And, once again, engaging that core, feeling every muscle in that part of the process. And when you slow stuff down, one, it's less risk of injury because you're using less weight. Because, you do that method with half the weight you're used to using. Oh my God, you're going to be burning. And just, focusing more on control and whatnot. And, that'll over time give you better benefits, less injuries and, just better quality. So you can do that with any type of training program you're doing.
Yeah. The importance of recovery. Is that something that people overlook? Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. I think for like kind of the 20s and 30s, we didn't really need to focus on recovery just because our bodies were designed to take that beating. But yeah, the over 40, that's a big thing that, you got to change that mindset because, destroying your body 7 days a week and never recovering, you're never going to get the benefits. One, injuries. Two, your body doesn't have time to recover, assimilate protein, build everything back. And then, you take someone like that and kind of slow them down, focus more on recovery, protein, sleep is huge. And then you switch someone's program like that, and all of a sudden, they start dropping more weight, they start putting on more lean muscle mass, and they don't understand, I'm working out less. It's because you're getting better quality. The recovery process is so much more important when you're over 40. And, that's a hard to do for someone who's coming back from an athletic type background where, they're used to pumping out 7 days a week. So.
Yeah. It's a really tricky thing, right? If I have the motivation to be going and working out 7 days a week, and I'm so excited about doing all of it, but realizing that I'm actually hurting my, my improvements, whatever those gains might be, if or losses of weight.
Yeah.
It's almost a paradox.
Yeah. And for someone who does like, they have to do it, they love it as part of their program, then that's okay. Then we start doing different types of splits. Maybe focusing on legs one day, chest another day, arms another day, and then kind of repeating. But that way, certain muscle groups will get a longer break. So you just have to be careful, kind of what you're doing.
The role of protein. Tell me a little bit more about that. Is that essential no matter what?
Yeah, I mean, for some people who really eat low calories and are not really focused on the aesthetics of building too much muscle mass, then yeah, they can get away with a kind of a lower protein diet. But for most of us, yeah, high protein diet is beneficial. It helps raise our BMR, our basal metabolic rate. So what that is how much your body's burning any given day, even at rest. So that's the whole name of the personal training game is, we get our clients to build lean muscle mass. And that holds off weight better than, doing something like cardio. You got to do a whole ton of cardio throughout the week to get the same benefits of building that lean muscle mass and, let your muscle do the work. And then the other part of that is, what type of protein are you eating? In our 20s, we could get away with the cheaper stuff like the whey protein concentrate and still build. And, it's a little harder to break that stuff down. But, eating more whole foods is probably the best. But then, you could dabble into the protein world, and we recommend doing more of the isolate or hydrolysate, where that, the process is more refined, the protein's more broken down. So it's easier for the body to assimilate. So, if you're going to do all this work and it's harder to keep this muscle on over 40s, buy the better stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think that intellectually, a lot of people have heard that lean muscle burns more fat. So if one of my goals is burning fat, actually is more beneficial to be weight training than doing a ton of cardio. Why is that, or how does that work?
Yeah. So when I get a new client in, my whole spiel is like, I call it the four pillars of fitness, and it's in order of importance. So the first one is diet. That's, 80% of the game right there, working on someone's nutrition and protein, like we were just talking about. And then two being weight training. And then third being cardio. And then people ask why. And it's just what we talked about is you get more bang for the buck for building lean muscle mass. One, you're burning calories while you're doing the workouts. But the second part is you having to, your body's responding, with the broken down muscles, building back up. That process takes energy and you're burning more calories. Then you're taking your protein throughout the day and you're building more muscle. That takes calories. And then now, lo and behold, you have a higher lean muscle mass, you're a higher BMR, and you're burning more calories. So you get like three things out of it doing the weight training. With cardio, it's good for your heart and it does burn calories, but it takes 40 plus minutes to even get in that zone. And then after you're done, that's it. There's no more benefit to it until you run again. And the problem with the runners is, my dad was a long distance runner his whole life and college and everything. And it takes a beating on the joints. And, lo and behold, he's had 2 knee surgeries at 65. And so it's, a little rough on the body too. And then the the fourth pillar of fitness is supplementation. So, we always try to promote, eating more whole foods and getting most of your stuff from that. But if you are neglecting some aspect of your nutrition, you're not getting enough greens or enough protein, that's where we start dabbling in there. And then there's some, stuff that helps with fat burning if you want to amp it up. So
I love it. That makes a ton of sense, and it makes sense that as my muscle is recovering and growing and building and getting larger, that actually requires more calories so that you're burning those throughout the course of the day. So that makes a ton of sense. You mentioned macros kind of at the beginning. Tell me a little bit more about that.
yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so macros, if people don't know what those are, it's getting your nutrients in, how many first of all your calories, how much of it is coming from protein, carbohydrates, fats. And like I said, whatever diet people want to go on, their macros will change. But the most important part is, you can do one of those calculators online. How many calories should I be doing according to how much exercise and, what your lifestyle is. And then as long as you're under that total amount of calories, you're doing fine. One thing that people, kind of start neglecting, and, I didn't really focus on it too much for, until maybe like 8 years ago, was, looking more at your micros. And what those are is, your potassium, your calcium, your magnesium, all your vitamins. And a cool thing I started doing with clients is, I got them on, MyFitnessPal or whatever diet tracker they're doing, and to get all their macros, just to see, what to do, but also to start checking out your micros, writing down a chart, looking up, Googling all the different RDAs of potassium, calcium, magnesium, all the things we just listed, and just going on a website. I tell people it's called eatthismuch.com. And what it does is it tells you every single food in existence, that whole breakdown, all the micros, all the macros, everything, whether it's in raw form or cooked form, because those numbers change as soon as it's cooked for something. So something like spinach or kale, as soon as you cook it, one big thing that happens is the potassium just skyrockets. And it's so important in our American diets that we're so heavy focused on sodium and not potassium, and it's supposed to be switched the other way. So cool thing is, make a chart, check out all the RDAs, and see where you find yourself neglecting. And almost 9 times out of 10, it's people are doing pretty good on all of them, except the potassium is super low and their sodium is super high. And what happens is you make that switch and reverse it, your body starts pulling more water into your cell instead of outside the cells. And thus you start shucking off body weight, water weight. So a client will shuck off like 3-4 pounds of water weight almost immediately in a couple days. And then also with potassium, it helps with your electrical current in your body and your muscles, and muscles being fired. And so that process it gets better and better. Your workouts start getting better. Your muscles look fuller. The body weight is off from that water weight. So it's kind of a cool thing and easy to switch. It only takes like less than a week to even see results on that. So that's kind of a fun thing I do with clients to, just give them a little jump start in the weight loss.
Nice. I love it. So it certainly is a lot, but it's not unmanageable. Can anybody be healthy past 40?
Oh yeah. The biggest thing, and people always say, where should I start if I've never done anything before? Is one, you need to find what motivates you and excites you. It could be boxing or running. We talked about overdoing it in running, but it's okay to have a program where you go out a couple times a week. Could be weight training. And then the other thing too is, kind of immersing yourself into health and wellness. So the more you're dragged into this health and wellness field, the more you'll start, doing more. And, podcasting is a great thing, finding different podcasts of different parts of health and wellness that you're interested in. It could be nutrition. It could be, the science of it. It could just be, some weight training guru. But the more and more you immerse yourself into it, you get pulled into that world, and thus you'll probably stay on track more. And then the other thing is accountability is huge. That's the name of the game. And for personal training is why people, hire us, because being held accountable is so much more powerful than, trying to do it on your own and be by yourself. And accountability could be an online coach. It could be a partner just to work out with, or just someone you watch on YouTube, just something to hold that accountability, set goals and get you on your fitness journey.
I love it. So important in every aspect of life to have somebody who is giving you a hand up or a kick in the butt when you need either one. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, Brad, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people learn more about you? How can they engage with you?
Yeah. So I think my website, over40fitnesshacks.com, and that's 40 instead of spelled out. My Twitter is at over40fithacks. Hold on a second, George. I'm losing my voice here. Um, and then just over 40 fitness hacks on any podcast player that you're listening to, Spotify, iTunes, or there's many more out there. So, and all my contact information is on all my show notes as well as on my website.
Excellent. Well, if you enjoyed this as much as I did, show Brad your appreciation and share today's show with a friend who also appreciates good ideas. Go to over40fitnesshacks.com with the number 4 and the number 0. So over40fitnesshacks.com and check out the Over 40 Fitness Hacks podcast, wherever you listen to your podcasts, and make the commitment and just, well, you know what? Just get started. Get interested, because being healthy and having a great lifestyle is 100% available to you. Just got to take that first step. So thanks again, Brad.
Awesome. Thanks so much, George.
And until next time, remember, do your part by doing your best.